The city wakes up early, but it never truly rests. Before sunrise, the roads are already alive with noise. Horns echo between tall buildings. Buses rush through crowded streets. People move like they are being chased by time itself. This is a city built on ambition, but also on quiet suffering. From above, everything looks powerful. Glass towers shine like symbols of success. Big companies sit inside them like kings on thrones. But on the ground, the truth is very different. Here, every face tells a story of waiting, a story of trying, a story of almost giving up. In this city, dreams are not free. They are expensive, and only a few can afford them. At the center of this world stands one company, a massive corporate building made of steel and glass. It rises higher than most others, designed to look perfect, untouchable, and strong. People don't just see it as a workplace. They see it as a gate to another life. For thousands of young people, getting inside that building means everything. A better future, a stable income, a chance to finally breathe without fear. But there is a harsh truth everyone knows. Very few people ever get in. The company is famous for its hiring process. Strict, cold, unforgiving. Thousands apply for a handful of positions. Most applicants leave with nothing but rejection. No explanations. No second chances. Just silence. Inside those glass walls, decisions are made quickly. Emotion is not part of the process. Only performance matters. Only perfection is accepted. And sometimes, even that is not enough. Outside the building, the world continues to struggle. A young man holds his resume tightly, hoping it will change his life. A woman checks her phone again and again, waiting for a call that may never come. A father counts coins in his hand, deciding what his children will eat tonight. This is the reality of the city. A place where hope and hopelessness walk side by side. Where success feels close enough to touch, but far enough to never reach. And yet, despite everything, people still try. Because what else can they do? Today is one of those days. A new round of interviews is being held at the company. The news has spread across the city like fire. Dozens of candidates have arrived early, standing outside the building with nervous energy in their eyes. Some are confident, hiding fear behind polished smiles. Others are silent, rehearsing answers in their minds. And a few simply stand still, hoping luck will finally choose them. Inside the building, the atmosphere is already tense. Interview panels are being prepared. Files are stacked neatly on tables. Names are printed, sorted, and ready to be judged. Everything is organized. Everything is controlled. Everything feels final. But something about today feels slightly different. Even the employees walking through the hall sense it, though they cannot explain why. There is a strange weight in the air, like a storm waiting to break. No one knows it yet, but today will not follow the usual pattern. Today, something will slip through the cracks of the system. A moment will happen that no one prepared for. A decision will be made that cannot be undone. And it will begin not with power, but with a person no one expects to matter. A young girl will soon walk toward this building, not knowing that her life is about to be tested in ways she never imagined. And not knowing that somewhere inside these cold glass walls, something unusual is already waiting to happen. Inside a small, modest home on the quieter edge of the city, a young girl sits alone in a dimly lit room. The walls are plain. The furniture is old. The air feels still, almost heavy, like time itself moves slower here. There is no luxury, no comfort, only survival. She sits on the edge of her bed, holding a folded piece of paper in her hands. Her interview documents. Today is the day she has been waiting for, and fearing at the same time. Her name is not spoken loudly in the world. But in her home it carries meaning. Because she is the one who carries hope for everyone. Her family depends on her in ways she never asked for but never refused either. Her father once had strength in his hands, but years of unstable work have worn him down. Some days he finds labor, other days he returns empty-handed. Her mother works endlessly inside the home, trying to stretch every small amount of money into something that can last another day. And then there is her, the daughter who refuses to give up. From a young age, life has not been kind to her. She has known rejection before she even understood what opportunity really meant. School fees delayed. Dreams postponed. Chances disappearing just when she reached for them. But she learned something important early in life. If life does not give you chances, you create your own reason to keep going. She is intelligent. Not in a loud, attention-seeking way, but in a quiet, thoughtful way. She notices details others ignore. She understands people without needing many words. And even when life pushes her down, she does not break easily. She bends, but she does not fall completely. 4 months she has prepared for this one opportunity. Not casually, not halfway, but with full sacrifice. She studied late into the night when others slept peacefully. She practiced answers aloud when no one was listening. She read, wrote, and repeated until exhaustion became normal. There were days she skipped meals so she could save a little money for travel or printing documents. Days when her body felt tired, but her determination refused to rest. Every sacrifice had one purpose: this job. Not because she wanted luxury, not because she wanted status, but because she wanted relief. Relief for her family. Relief from constant fear of bills, debt, and uncertainty. She believes this job could change everything. Not just her life, but the lives of everyone she loves. But hope is never simple, because with hope comes fear. And today that fear sits quietly inside her chest. What if she is not good enough? What if she is rejected like before? What if all her effort means nothing in front of people who will not even look beyond her appearance? She tries not to think like that. But thoughts do not always listen to logic. She looks at her reflection in a small, slightly cracked mirror. A simple girl. No expensive clothes. No polished image. Just someone trying to build a future from nothing. For a moment, doubt rises in her eyes. Then she shakes it away gently. Because she has no choice but to try. Outside, the morning light slowly grows stronger. The world is waking up. Somewhere far away, the big company building is already preparing to decide who is worthy today. She takes a deep breath, then begins to get ready. She chooses her clothes carefully, not expensive but clean and neat. She straightens her hair. She holds her documents again and checks them more than once, as if fear might change them if she is not careful. Her mother watches her quietly from the doorway. There is worry in her eyes. Not because she doubts her daughter, but because she knows how cruel the world can be. Her father tries to smile, but it is weak. He wants to say something encouraging, but words feel too small for moments like this. The room stays silent for a moment. Not uncomfortable silence, but heavy silence. The kind that carries love, fear, and hope all at once. The girl finally stands up. This is it. The moment she has been preparing for. Before leaving, she pauses at the door. Not dramatically, just quietly. Her fingers tighten around her documents. Her heart beats faster, but her face stays calm. And inside her mind, she makes a silent promise, not to the world, but to herself. I will try, no matter what happens. She steps outside. The sunlight touches her face. And for the first time today, she walks toward the future that might either break her or change everything. The city feels louder as she travels toward the towering corporate building. Every step of the journey feels heavier than the last. The roads are crowded, the traffic is chaotic, but inside her mind there is only one thing: today. The building appears from a distance like a giant of glass and steel. It does not look like a workplace. It looks like power itself. As she gets closer, her footsteps slow for just a second. The size of the structure makes her feel smaller than ever before. People walk in and out of the entrance like they belong to a different world. Well-dressed candidates stand in groups near the gate. Some are laughing quietly, trying to hide their nerves. Others are checking their phones or adjusting their clothes, confident and polished. She looks down at herself for a brief moment. Simple clothes. Clean but not expensive. No branded bag. No luxury shoes. Nothing that signals privilege. For a second, doubt returns. But she quickly tightens her grip on her documents and steps forward. Inside the building, the atmosphere changes completely. Cool air. Bright lights. Silent floors polished like mirrors. Everything feels controlled, almost unreal. At the reception area, candidates are guided with strict instructions. No unnecessary talking. No confusion allowed. Everything is organized, precise, and emotionless. She sits among others waiting for her turn. Time moves slowly here. Each name that is called feels like a small event. One person enters a room. Minutes later, they return with different expressions. Some walk out smiling softly as if they have hope. Others walk out with blank faces as if something inside them has quietly broken. She watches all of it and tries not to think too much. Finally, her name is called. Next candidate. Her heart reacts before her body does. She stands up. Every step toward the interview room feels louder inside her head. The hallway seems longer than it should be. Her hands are slightly cold, but she keeps them steady. She enters the room. It is large, clean, formal. A long table separates her from the panel of interviewers. 3 or 4 professionals sit on the other side. Their expressions are serious, unreadable. They do not smile. They do not show emotion. This is not personal for them. This is routine. She sits down carefully, placing her documents in front of her. A brief silence follows. Then the questions begin. At first they are standard. Her introduction, her background, her education, her skills. She answers clearly. Not too fast, not too slow. Her voice is soft but steady. She avoids exaggeration. She does not try to impress with big words. She simply speaks the truth. And for a moment that truth is enough. The panel listens, but their faces remain unchanged. Next come deeper questions. Situational problems. Logical reasoning. Pressure-based scenarios. She responds carefully. She thinks before answering. She explains her reasoning step by step. There is honesty in her words, and a quiet intelligence that does not try to show off. Still, something subtle begins to shift. The interviewers exchange brief glances. Not impressed. Not disappointed. Just evaluating. But she feels it. That invisible distance forming between her and them. The kind of distance that cannot be explained but can be felt deeply. Her confidence begins to tighten slightly. Not because she is wrong, but because she realizes she is being measured in ways she cannot control. Her background is not spoken about directly, but it hangs in the air anyway. Her simple appearance, her lack of elite connections, the quiet tone of her voice, all of it becomes part of a silent judgment. Still she continues. Another question is asked. This one is different, more complex, designed to test pressure, decision-making, and emotional intelligence all at once. She pauses longer this time. The room becomes quieter. For a moment it feels like time slows down. Then she answers, carefully at first, then with growing clarity. She explains her thought process. She considers consequences. She shows not just knowledge, but understanding. For a brief second there is silence again. But this time something is different. Her answer was not average. It was strong. Maybe even better than expected. But the reaction from the panel does not change. No nods. No visible approval. No smile. Only silence. A final pause. Then one of the interviewers speaks in a calm, professional tone. The words are polite, but sharp in meaning. She is informed that the company is looking for someone who better fits their current requirements. There is no detailed explanation. No feedback she can hold on to. Just a conclusion. Rejection delivered in a clean corporate sentence. Her heart sinks, but her face does not show it. She forces herself to stay still, to stay respectful, to stay composed. She nods once, slowly gathers her documents, stands up, and thanks them. Her voice does not shake, even though everything inside her does. She turns toward the door and walks out. Each step away from the table feels heavier than the walk-in. The room behind her continues as if nothing happened. Another file, another candidate, another decision. But for her, something has already ended. As she reaches the hallway, she lowers her head slightly, not in defeat but in control. Because even now, she refuses to break in front of them. The door closes behind her, and the silence of rejection follows her into the corridor. The door closes behind her with a soft sound, but inside her heart it feels louder than anything she has ever heard. For a moment, she just stands in the hallway. So quiet, trying to understand what just happened. The words from the interview room replay in her mind again and again. Not because they were harsh, but because they were so calm, so controlled, so final. Not the right fit. No anger, no emotion, no second chance. Just a sentence that ended everything she had worked for. She slowly walks forward. Her steps are steady on the outside, but inside, something feels like it is breaking into smaller and smaller pieces. As she reaches the waiting area, she sees other candidates. Something is different about them now. A few are smiling. A few are shaking hands. Some are receiving small nods from staff members. Success is happening, just not for her. She notices a group of candidates being called forward again for final instructions. Their faces light up with hope. One of them even laughs softly in relief. She watches them for a second longer than she should. Then she looks away, because she understands what that means. They are moving forward. She is not. She steps out of the building. The sunlight outside feels too bright, almost painful after the cold, controlled atmosphere inside. The city noise returns instantly, horns, footsteps, voices, but it feels distant, like she is hearing it from underwater. She keeps walking. No one stops her. No one notices her. And that somehow makes it worse. Her hands still hold her documents tightly, even though she no longer needs them. It feels like letting go of them would make everything too real. Every step away from the building feels like she is leaving a version of her future behind. A future she almost touched. A future that disappeared without warning. As she moves further away, her mind starts replaying everything. Every hour she studied late at night. Every sacrifice she made without telling her family. Every small hope she allowed herself to feel. Was it all for nothing? The question hits her harder than the rejection itself. She stops near a quieter corner outside the building. The noise of the city continues around her, but she no longer feels part of it. For a moment she stands still. Then she slowly sits down on a nearby bench. Her posture remains controlled even now. She is trying, still trying, not to fall apart in public. But her eyes begin to change. The weight she has been holding inside her chest finally starts to rise. Her breath becomes uneven. Her fingers tighten around the edge of her document file. And then, silence inside her mind turns into chaos. She thinks about her home. Her parents waiting. The hope in their eyes this morning. The belief that she could change everything today. What will she say when she returns? How will she explain that she failed again? The thought is unbearable. Her vision blurs slightly, but she quickly wipes her eyes before tears can fully fall. She refuses to let them win even this moment. But emotions do not ask for permission. They rise anyway. A memory flashes in her mind. Her mother quietly placing a small meal in front of her while pretending not to worry. Her father pretending everything will be fine even when it is not. All of them trusting her. And she has nothing to bring back. Her chest tightens. She lowers her head slightly, trying to hold everything inside. But the pressure becomes too much. A single tear escapes. Then another. She quickly wipes them away, looking around to make sure no one notices. But the world is too busy to care. People pass by. Cars move. Life continues. As if nothing has changed. But for her, everything has changed. She sits there longer now, quieter, her shoulders slightly trembling as she fights the feeling of collapse. There is a moment, just a small moment, where she thinks about giving up completely. Not just the job. Everything. The constant struggle. The repeated rejection. The endless effort that never seems to be enough. But even that thought doesn't stay long. Because deep inside her, something refuses to die. Not hope exactly. Something stronger. A stubborn refusal to disappear. She takes a deep breath. Slowly straightens her back again. Wipes her face one last time. And forces herself to sit still, even though everything inside her is shaking. She watches the city move in front of her. People chasing buses. People rushing into buildings. People living lives that continue no matter what she feels. And for the first time today she realizes something painful. The world does not pause for anyone's disappointment. It keeps moving, whether you are ready or not. Inside the company building behind her, far above the crowded lobby and silent hallways, a few floors up where decisions are made, something small has changed in the system. A file has been marked. A detail has been noticed. But she does not know that yet. Right now, she is just a girl sitting alone in a city that has already moved on without her. High above the crowded streets, in the top floors of the same glass tower, the atmosphere is completely different. There is no noise here. No chaos. Only silence, control, and authority. This is the world of decisions. The world of power. Inside a large corner office, a man sits behind a wide desk made of dark wood and glass. The room is clean, expensive, and carefully designed to reflect order. City lights stretch behind him through tall windows, making it feel like he is sitting above the entire world. This is the CEO. He is known across the company as a man of logic, not emotion. He rarely attends interviews. He rarely involves himself in hiring decisions. To him, the system is supposed to run without personal interference. Efficient, fast, unbiased. That is how it should work. But today something is different. A stack of candidate reports lies in front of him. Final summaries from the interview panel. Names, scores, short evaluations. Most of them are already marked for rejection or approval. He flips through them quietly. One by one. No emotion on his face. Most profiles blur together. Confident candidates. Strong resumes. Standard answers. Nothing unusual. Until he stops. His eyes pause on one file. A simple name. A simple background. A candidate who was already rejected. Something about it catches his attention. Not because of qualifications but because of a small note written by one of the interviewers. Good reasoning but lacks strong corporate presence. Not ideal fit. He reads it once. Then again. Slowly he leans back in his chair. Not because the comment is important, but because something about it feels incomplete. He opens the full interview summary. As he reads, his expression remains calm, but his focus sharpens. Her answers were not just correct. They were thoughtful. Structured in a way that showed understanding beyond basic training. He scrolls further. Another note from the panel. Good intelligence, but not confident enough for high-pressure corporate environment. The CEO pauses. His fingers stop moving. He rereads that line. And something subtle changes in his thinking. Because confidence is not always loud. He continues reading. And the more he reads, the more a pattern appears. The evaluation was not fully based on ability. It was based on impression. On appearance. On assumptions. He closes the file for a moment. Silence fills the room again. Outside the window, the city continues moving. Cars, people, life. But in here, everything feels still. Then he opens the video recording of the interview. The screen lights up. He watches her enter the room. Small frame. Controlled posture. Careful steps. He watches how she speaks. Not overly confident. Not fake. Just real. He notices something most people missed. She does not try to impress. She tries to understand. As the interview continues, he watches closely. Her answers are not loud, but they are structured. She thinks before speaking. She does not rush. She does not exaggerate. Then comes the difficult question. He watches her pause. He sees it clearly. She is thinking deeply, not freezing out of fear. And when she answers, something changes in his expression for the first time. Her reasoning is not average. It is strong. Not memorized. Not rehearsed. Real understanding. The CEO leans forward slightly. For a brief moment, interest replaces routine thinking. But then the video continues. And he sees the panel's reaction. Or rather, the lack of it. No engagement. No curiosity. Just flat evaluation. He pauses the video. The room goes silent again. He sits still for a long moment. Then he replays a small segment. Her final answer. He watches her face closely this time. Not her words. Her expression. There is something there. Not fear. Not arrogance. Just quiet resilience. A person who has learned to survive disappointment. He closes the laptop slowly. And now something unusual begins to form in his mind. A conflict. On one side, logic. The system says she is not selected. The panel has decided. The process is complete. On the other side, intuition. Something tells him the decision was too quick. Too shallow. Too dependent on surface-level judgment. He stands up and walks toward the window. Below him, the city looks small. People moving like dots. Lives being decided every day without noticing. He thinks about the system he built. Fast decisions. Efficient filtering. High rejection rate to maintain quality. It has always worked. But for the first time, a question appears in his mind. What if the system missed something important today? He turns back to his desk. Looks at the file again. And then makes a decision that surprises even him. Not approval. Not rejection reversal. Something else. He picks up the phone. And instructs a quiet internal review. No public announcement. No HR involvement yet. Just a deeper look. Specifically into one candidate. The rejected girl. As the call ends, he sits back down. The office remains silent. But the decision has already been made. Something in the system has started to shift. And far below, in the city where she is still sitting alone with broken hope. She does not know it yet. But her story is no longer over. The office is quiet again after the phone call ends. But for the CEO, the silence no longer feels empty. It feels focused, like something important has just begun. He sits back in his chair and looks at the candidate file once more. This time he does not just read it. He studies it. Slowly he reopens the full interview recording. The screen lights up the dim room, casting a cold glow across his face. The girl appears again on the screen, sitting straight, hands folded carefully, trying her best to stay calm in a room that never felt warm to her. The CEO watches without interruption. This time he is not looking for mistakes. He is looking for truth. As the interview continues, he begins to notice small details the panel ignored. The way she pauses before answering, not out of confusion but out of thinking deeply. The way she avoids unnecessary words, choosing clarity over performance. The way her voice never tries to impress, only explain. Then he opens the official evaluation notes beside the video. He compares them side by side. And slowly a problem begins to appear. The panel's judgment is not fully based on performance. It is influenced by perception. One note says, lacks strong corporate personality. Another says, Does not appear confident enough for leadership environments. The CEO stops reading for a moment. His expression tightens slightly, because he understands something very clearly. These are not technical evaluations. These are assumptions. He rewinds the video again. A specific moment plays. The difficult situational question. She takes a long pause. The panel sees hesitation, but the CEO sees something else. Processing, thinking, building structure. When she finally answers, her response is not emotional. It is logical, calm, and carefully layered. He watches the panel's faces immediately after. No reaction. No curiosity. Just a quick move to the next question. That is when it becomes clear. They did not evaluate her answer deeply. They moved on too fast. He leans back slowly. Something about this feels wrong. Not illegal, but unfair. Quietly unfair. The kind of unfairness that hides inside systems that believe they are correct. He closes the video. Then opens her background report. This is where things change. Her file is simple. No elite education. No corporate connections. No polished history. Just basic academic records and struggle. As he reads further, he begins to see the life behind the file. Small details at first. Financial hardship. Interrupted education periods. Part-time work during studies. Then deeper details appear. Family dependence. Responsibility at a young age. Continuous effort despite repeated rejection. The CEO pauses again. This time longer. Because this is no longer just a candidate profile. It is a human story. He imagines her sitting in that interview room, trying to prove herself not just for a job, but for survival, for her family, for dignity. He closes the file slowly, and for the first time the system he trusts begins to feel incomplete. Not broken, but limited. He stands up and walks across the room. The city outside is bright and alive, but inside him, something quieter is forming. Doubt. Not about her. About the process. About how many people like her might have been dismissed without being seen properly. He returns to his desk and makes another decision. He calls the internal HR head. This time the tone is different. Calm, but firm. He orders a full background review. Not just documents, but full context. Life history, struggles, behavior under pressure. Everything. But he adds one more instruction. This one surprises even the person on the other end of the call. He wants it done quietly. No announcement. No influence on current hiring status. Just truth. Pure and simple. After the call ends, the CEO sits in silence again. Minutes pass. Then the report begins to arrive. Piece by piece. And as he reads it, his expression slowly changes. Because now the story becomes real. The girl is not just a file. She is a life shaped by pressure most people in the building have never experienced. A family struggling to survive. A daughter carrying responsibilities far beyond her age. A young woman who kept trying even when life gave her nothing back. The CEO leans forward slightly. Something inside him shifts. Not sympathy. Understanding. And that changes everything. He realizes something important. She was not weak in the interview. She was under pressure most candidates never face. And still, she performed. Still, she reasoned. Still, she held herself together. The system did not fail her because she lacked ability. It failed her because it never looked deeper. He closes the report. The room feels heavier now. Not because of doubt, but because of clarity. He makes his final decision for today. He will meet her, personally, before anything else is decided. No panel. No filters. No assumptions. Just one conversation. A human conversation. And as he prepares for that step somewhere far below in the city, the girl is still sitting alone, unaware that her rejection has already started turning into something else. Something she never expected. The second chance is quietly on its way. The afternoon feels heavier for her than the morning did. Time has passed, but she is still sitting in the same place outside the building. The noise of the city continues around her, but she no longer feels like part of it. Her world feels paused even though everything else is moving. She keeps replaying the rejection in her mind. Not the words, but the silence that followed them. That silence feels louder than anything else. Suddenly her phone vibrates. She looks down. An unknown number. For a moment she hesitates. Her fingers feel cold as she slowly answers. A calm voice speaks from the other side. Professional. Formal. She is informed that she has been requested to return to the company for further discussion. No explanation is given. Only instructions. She is told to come immediately. The call ends. She remains still. For a few seconds she does not move at all. Her mind struggles to understand what just happened. Another interview? Another mistake? A correction in her rejection? Fear returns immediately. Because in her experience, nothing good ever comes after rejection. But she has no choice. Slowly she stands up. The walk back to the building feels different this time. Before she walked in with hope. Now she walks in with confusion and fear. The same glass tower stands in front of her. But it no longer feels like a place of opportunity. It feels like a place of uncertainty. At the entrance, a staff member is already waiting for her. She is guided inside without waiting in the usual lobby. No other candidates are around. No crowd. No noise. Only silence. This alone makes her nervous. She is taken past familiar areas, and then beyond them. Deeper into the building. Areas she was never allowed to see before. Her heart beats faster with every step. Eventually, she is led into a private room. Not an interview room. Not HR. Something more formal. More isolated. A long table. Soft lighting. A quiet atmosphere that feels too controlled to be normal. She sits down slowly. Her hands are tense. Her mind is full of questions she cannot answer. Minutes pass. Then the door opens. And someone walks in. A man. Calm. Composed. Powerful in a quiet way. She doesn't recognize him at first. But something about his presence changes the entire room. He sits across from her. No assistants. No panel. Just the two of them. The silence stretches. Her nervousness grows. Finally he speaks. His voice is calm but direct. He tells her he has reviewed her interview personally. Her eyes widen slightly. She doesn't understand why someone at his level would even look at her file. Then he continues. He explains that her evaluation was not fully accurate. That her rejection was influenced by incomplete judgment from the panel. Her breath stops for a moment. For the first time today, she feels something shift. Confusion. Then a small spark of hope. He tells her clearly. She was not rejected because she lacked ability. She was rejected because she was misunderstood. Her background. Her appearance. Her quiet confidence. All of it was misread. Her hands tremble slightly. Not from weakness. But from emotion building too fast to control. She doesn't know whether to feel relief, anger, or disbelief. Maybe all at once. The CEO watches her carefully. Not judging. Just observing. Then he says something unexpected. He tells her she is not here to be given a normal reconsideration. She is here for a second evaluation. But this time different. More personal. More real. He presents her with a situation. A real corporate scenario. A problem that requires honesty, ethics, and decision-making under pressure. Not rehearsed answers. Not textbook responses. Just truth. She listens carefully. Her fear slowly begins to turn into focus. She takes a breath. And answers. At first her voice is soft. But as she continues, something changes. She is no longer speaking like someone trying to impress. She is speaking like someone who understands struggle. Someone who has lived uncertainty. Her answers are not perfect. But they are real. And they are thoughtful. The CEO remains silent while she speaks. His expression does not change quickly. But his attention deepens. She continues. Explaining her reasoning. Her values. Her understanding of responsibility. And for the first time in this entire process, she is not being ignored. She is being heard. When she finishes, silence fills the room again. She lowers her gaze slightly. Waiting. Not expecting much. Just bracing herself. The CEO leans back slowly. And for the first time, his expression softens slightly. Not with emotion. But with realization. He has seen enough. He understands now. She is not the strongest on paper. But she is the most real person he has seen in this entire hiring process. And in his company, that matters more than anything else. He stands up. She looks up quickly, unsure what is happening. Then he says it. Not loudly. But clearly. She is being offered another opportunity. Not the same position. Something more aligned with her strengths. Something that requires growth, but also gives her a chance. Her breath catches. She does not respond immediately. Because her mind cannot process it fast enough. After everything she felt today, after rejection, after humiliation, after silence, this feels unreal. Her eyes begin to fill slightly, but she holds it in. She doesn't want to break here. Not in front of him. The CEO watches her carefully. And in that moment he knows. This was the right decision. But her journey is not over yet. Not even close. It is just beginning again. The room stays quiet for a few seconds after his words. But this silence feels different from all the silences she has experienced today. This one is not heavy. It is not cold. It feels like something has finally stopped pushing her down. She is still sitting in the same chair, staring at him, trying to understand if what she heard is real. A job offer. A second chance. A new path. Her mind struggles to connect it all together. Just a few hours ago, she was walking out of this building with rejection burning inside her chest. Now she is sitting here, being offered something she never expected again. Her hands tremble slightly in her lap. Not from fear this time, but from emotion she cannot control. She looks down for a moment, trying to steady herself. For so long she has learned how to handle disappointment, how to stay strong when nothing works out, how to hide pain behind silence. But she never learned how to handle hope when it suddenly returns. The CEO watches her quietly. He does not rush her. He does not pressure her. He simply waits. That patience itself feels unfamiliar to her. Slowly she takes a deep breath and nods. A small, almost silent acceptance. But inside her, something huge shifts. It is not just a job. It is a release. Years of pressure, struggle, rejection. All of it feels like it finally has a small crack to escape from. Her eyes become slightly wet, but she quickly wipes them. She does not want to cry in front of him. Not because she is weak, but because she has been strong for too long. The CEO finally speaks again. He tells her that her journey will not be easy from here. That responsibility will be higher. Expectations will be real. And she will be tested again and again. But this time she will not be judged by appearance or assumptions. She will be judged by her growth. She listens carefully. Every word feels important. Not heavy like rejection, but serious like truth. She nods again. Understanding. Accepting. The CEO signs a document on the table. The sound of the pen is small, but in her heart it feels like a door unlocking. Official. Final. Real. Her life has changed in that moment. But what she does not know is how deeply this single decision will affect the system itself. Because back in the corporate world, people are starting to notice something unusual. A rejected candidate was brought back, reviewed personally, and selected again. That never happens. Not here. Not in this company. But for now, none of that matters to her. What matters is the moment she finally stands up. The CEO gestures slightly, signaling that she is free to leave. She rises slowly. Her legs feel weak, not from exhaustion, but from emotional weight lifting off her body. She bows her head slightly in respect, then turns toward the door. As she walks out of the room, she pauses for just a second. She looks back once, not with fear anymore, but with quiet gratitude. Then she leaves. Later that day, the city looks the same as before. The traffic is still loud. The people are still rushing. The world has not changed, but she has. She walks down the street holding her documents tightly, but now they feel different in her hand. Lighter. Like they finally mean something again. Her steps are slower now, not because she is tired, but because she is thinking about everything that happened, about how close she came to giving up, about how one unexpected moment changed everything. When she reaches a quiet corner near her home area, she finally stops. The weight she has been holding all day begins to release. This time she does not stop the tears. They come quietly, not from pain, but from relief, from survival, from disbelief that she was not forgotten after all. After a while, she wipes her face and looks up at the sky. The same sky that watched her struggle this morning. But now it feels different. Not because the world changed, but because she did. Final message, narration tone. Sometimes rejection is not the end. Sometimes it is only a hidden turn in the path. And sometimes the people the world overlooks are the ones who carry the strongest light inside them. Her story was never about luck. It was about being seen. And in the end, she finally was.